What's good, YouTube? This is KB LaFleur. You can call me KB. Welcome back to another video. We got something pretty good. We got this chick not knowing her place, right? I'm gonna just put it that way. We got this chick not knowing her place, not knowing cultural differences, not knowing why. Hey, we gotta talk to these little boys like this. We gotta talk to these little boys like this because a lot of these little boys are being raised by single mothers. A lot of these boys are being raised in single parent households. Right, so you have this mother who is just trying to instill some toughness in this little boy, right? Some structure. I mean, hey, brother, you can't you need to stop all this damn crying. Like it's not necessary. It's not necessary. They always told us that when we were younger, at least in the black community, at least if you had a black mother and a father and cousins, right? But she wouldn't know that because she didn't. She's never came from that. It was always, well, it's okay. We're just going to put you in timeout. We're going to just take your electronics. We're just going to put your face on the wall. Like, no, where we from, man, we getting toe up. We getting toe up from the flow up. People getting hit with spatulas, belts, paddles, switches. I mean, like, dude, you freaking name it, right? But for a lot of us, we turn out right. Now, of course, you're going to say, well, right? Because she's trying to say that we see how a lot of these kids turning out bad. But see, they don't ever want to go deep, right? They don't ever want to really look at it for what it really is. They just over here looking at it as, okay, this is a woman yelling at a kid. We shouldn't do that. They're looking at it as a woman being stern with her child. We don't want to see that, right? But they're going to skip over the fact that this child does not have a father. 9 times out of 10, just pattern recognition. 9 times out of 10, this is a single mother, does not have a father in the picture, right? So you're going to have to be 10 times harder. And then on top of that, she's just being stern. Why are we just going to ignore that? You're just going to skip over it all. You're just going to skip over the whole thing. Maybe she's already talked to this little boy 1,000 times and used your tactic of, it's okay. You don't need to do that. Let's not do that. We just got to go put you in timeout. That stuff doesn't work. And like I said, when you're talking about kids, man, that she's alluding to, a lot of those kids, most of your kids, if not all of them, come from your single parent households. Most of your kids, if not all of them, that come from your 2-parent households, where a father's involved and he is the one that's doing the discipline, they always come out great. Right now, I'm not going to say always, but 95% of the time they come out great. When you statistically speaking, when you have kids, man, who come from a 2-parent household and they're getting good discipline, they are going to fare better in society. But when you coming from a 1-parent household, no matter how many times your parents whoop you, I've seen it. I had one of my cousins had 5 children by 2 different men, raising them all by herself. She did everything she could to the point where you like, man, dang, but she like, yo, man, I would not want her as a mother, right? But she was doing everything she could to discipline those children, and it just, once again, they still grew up to be in a very bad position. Till this very day, a very bad position. And they're all in their 30s and 20s. So as I'm stating, the women, the kids that she's talking about, as stated before, she's not really talking about the real issue. A lot of these kids are coming from your single parent households. A lot of your kids do not have structure.
I don't got time for that baby stuff. Stop it. Stop the tears. Stop it. I love you. But you gotta be a big boy.
Have we not seen enough of the product of this kind of parenting? Have we not seen enough of what happens when we tell little boys whose job is to be emotional, because that's the part of their brain that's actually developing in these stages? When we tell them, stop being emotional, stop crying, this is baby stuff, you got to be a big boy. And then we wonder why they grow up to be emotionally immature men who don't know how to process through their emotions, who don't know how to be a healthy parent, a healthy husband, a healthy employee, a healthy employer. We wonder why they think that they need to resolve problems with fear, aggression, manipulation, and control. We wonder why they don't know how to regulate their nervous system. We wonder, and we expect them to be emotionally mature, but nobody gave them the building blocks for it in their childhood when it mattered most. We have to stop doing this. It is a child's job to be emotional. It is a parent's job to show them how to manage those emotions, not by suppression. That is emotional suppression, telling them to stop it. Be a big boy. Shut it down. This is baby stuff. That is emotional suppression. You are teaching a child to stuff it, stuff it, stuff it. And then you wonder in their teenage years and in their adult years why they don't want to come to you with anything. Why is he shutting down? Why is he not talking to me anymore? It's because you shut him down when he was still talking. If you want him to continue talking, you got to continue to listen. And it doesn't look like telling him to stop it, to shut it down, to be a big boy. All of that is shaming and blaming that child. And he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. No child deserves that. It is their job to be emotional. It is our job to teach them how to feel their emotions, process through their emotions, and express their emotions in healthy ways. We are the ones with the fully developed brain. It is our job to be the prefrontal cortex for our children whose prefrontal cortex is not yet developed. Enough is enough. And if you want to break this cycle, I have a ton of resources over at the websites in my profile. I have a ton of videos here. 5 years of videos. If you don't want to pay a dime, don't pay a dime. If you're ready to dive deeper, go dive deeper and get some resources. But for the love of God, break this freaking cycle, because enough is enough.
At the end of the day, they need a father in the household that she does not want to acknowledge. She does not want to acknowledge that. And when we look at these comments, even the women don't want to acknowledge it. They just go straight to, well, how should we fare? How should we do it? How should we do what we need to be doing as parents for the get the father in the house first. You figure if you get that man, you pretty much figure out 90% of your problems. But because we live in such a society, and it's only you mainly see these sisters really jumping behind it as well. Of course, they're saying that there are cultural differences, but at the same time, hey man, listen, she ain't lying, because so many women want to coddle their little boys, and then these little boys, she says, they don't know how to control and regulate the emotions. Because they're raised by who? Their mothers. That's who she is alluding to. But once again, she does not want to acknowledge it or bring it up, because she knows she would really be in some shit if she really acknowledged that. That's why you need some brothers on this channel and the Red Pill to come over there and come spice that comment section up. Yeah, you need to go over there and spice that comment section up, because a lot of these women don't know what they're talking about. She specifically don't know what she's talking about. She specifically does not know what she's talking about, because she's speaking out of emotion, and she is arguing in bad faith. She being just very disingenuous. Understand the cultural differences. Understand why most of your YT's kids are able to grow up thriving, because most of them are coming from your two-parent households, right? They even have the fathers in the background. A lot of times you really ain't gotta use the paddle or whatever for those kids. Right? But for the most part, if it happens, it happens. But for a lot of your black children, it has to happen, because most of your black boys, most of your black children are coming out of your single parent households raised by your mothers. But once again, nobody wants to acknowledge that. She does not want to acknowledge that, arguing in bad faith, just jumping on the internet just to post just so you can get some views. So let's go ahead and read these comments. Someone says, she is teaching her child not to overreact. She also followed it with love. I see nothing wrong with this. You seem to be the one overreacting here. And once again, she is just doing something slight, because imagine what the father would have done. But see, as we stated before, if the father was there, we probably don't even have this video. 9 times out of 10, if the father is there, we do not have this video. Then somebody else says, I don't want to listen to you because you yelled the whole time. Then somebody else says, are you a mother to any sons? Genuinely curious. Are you a mother to any black sons? Right? Or do you even understand truly why your black sons need their fathers? And if we're being technical, if she's dealing with a brother, probably going to be dealing with a pookie, right? She seems like the type to deal with a pookie, sit over here and get a child. Generally speaking, those little children that come from families like that, those tend to be your worst ones. At least when I was growing up. A lot of them boys, man, who were very light-skinned, a lot of them light-skinned children, the children, man, that come from a black father and a black mother or vice versa, they tend to be your worst ones. Then somebody else says, stop. Cultural differences actually is a thing. Then somebody else says, yelling at her child while recording and then posting it online. Once again, I agree. They guys stop posting this stuff online. Now, the other stuff, cool, 100% agree with. But the posting online, we got to stop that. Then somebody else says, wonder if she can stop crying on demand. Well, you're an adult. You should be able to, right? When you use an analogy for a woman and a child, Women don't like to hear that shit. No, no, I don't like hearing that. No, why are you trying to compare me to a child?
As a parent, you technically have full control over your child, right? But you don't force them to do everything that you tell them to do. So when I say full control, people's egos get involved.
The comparison you did just really proved our point. The comparison you said was, oh, but a parent would control their child. A parent controls their child and raises their child. You're not raising your mate. So that comparison, that analogy to me goes to that pushes the complete conversation out the window.
Right. First of all, I'm not comparing. I'm using an analogy.
But
no, because I don't want you to think I'm trying to say.
What is an analogy?
An analogy is a comparison, but I'm not comparing the actual roles of the child and the wife. I'm iterating it the wrong way.
Yes.
I would like to have that option to have that full control.
But then turn around and you will literally have women then contradict themselves and use that same argument that they argued against. They use that same argument for themselves. It's mighty weird. But this is what we hear all the time. You're a grown adult. You should be able to stop crying on a dime. If you are in the wrong, you should be able to stop crying on the dime. I mean, what is there to talk about? The mother is trying to teach the child some discipline. Is trying to teach the child, hey, not everything is going to go your way. Whatever you're crying about, it's irrelevant. Get over it. Then somebody else says, this is said with love. Unfortunately, little black boys aren't awarded with the luxury to be full of big emotions. As a mother of two very young black men, it is important that they learn to speak through their emotions instead of crying through them. I tell my boys that their emotions are valid and deserve to be acknowledged, but should be expressed calmly using their words. This is something you may not understand unless you are a woman of color raising young men of color in America. So, I mean, once again, man, she's saying you need to learn you can't cry your way out of everything. You can't cry your way out of everything. Just like how this woman says up here, wondering if she can stop crying on a dime, you should be able to be an adult. You understand that you can't cry about everything. You shouldn't be crying at all. Once again, for the guys that you are talking about, they coming from households that are only ran by one person, and we already know who that is, women. Right, so let's literally talk. So if we're going to talk about it in its entirety, if we're going to address the issue, address it in its entirety. I'm tired of seeing videos where they only want to address only small parts of it. Well, let's just try to deal with the issue right here. Well, hold on, the issue stems all the way back here. We need to get to the root of it. You only just cutting off the edge. What are we doing? But this is what we have allowed. Do me a huge favor, leave me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you are feeling this video.